Hey guys, it doesn't matter,
Own the dream.
and this is episode 14 of our podcast, Confessions of a Stan Mixer edition. And today we are going to be doing our Glory Days ranking.
You could probably make the ranking for us at this point.
Honestly, I mean, hey, if you want to pause right now and go down and make your predictions, I mean, we'll let you know if we're impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Glory Days so much, and we talk about one song in particular. I'm wondering if we should even start at the bottom. Like, do we just start at the top? Normally, you start at the bottom to like build suspense, right? Like,
Yeah.
you all know what number one is. If you've listened to one of these podcasts for 10 minutes, you know what number one is.
And probably like 1 through 5.
Yeah, honestly. Okay, we'll do it the same way we've done all of them though. But we know you're all really, really waiting for that confirmation on number one.
I know, the suspense is building.
It's so much. All right, so the way we set it up this time, guys, was we have a total of 24. And the reason we have 24 is because we have included the Touch Shout to My Ex and No More Sad Songs acoustics, as well as all of the original and then feature versions of the singles. So altogether, that gets us to a 24. I will start us off and I will slide Beep Beep into number 24.
Mine is also Beep Beep.
Ooh, what a surprise. I sounded like I already knew the answer when I said that, but I was just happened to be true and sarcastic at the same time. Okay, so Beep Beep. Arguably, maybe not as bad as the fandom wants to make it out to be. However, it's not really good either.
Yeah.
Like songs about sex are fine, even like really like raunchy, like full of innuendo songs about sex are fine. But this like vibe, playful genre styling that they were playing with really missed the mark for me personally. And then also like it manages to feel almost as like childish as black magic, even though it's really not. Is that just me?
No, I get what you mean. So yeah, Beep Beep for me, it's just honestly, it's just kind of like self-explanatory why it's at the bottom for I know like most people. I know there's some people who really like it. The only thing about this song for me is that I think their vocals on this song are actually really like strong compared to like the song, if that makes sense. I'm not insulting them. I'm realizing this sounds like bad. What I mean
The vocals are a quality level higher than the actual song itself.
yes. Like they I'm not ranking it low because they sound bad. It's just like the lyrics to me are like kind of a turn off just because it's just like you said like immature a little bit, but their vocals on it make me like want to like it.
Number 23, I have Oops.
I also have Oops.
We guys, we're so alike. We actually didn't talk about this.
We didn't talk about this one as much.
Sometimes we chat beforehand. Sometimes we always chat beforehand before we start recording. And sometimes we'll just kind of go over some of the things we're going to talk about so that we're not leading you guys in completely random conversation directions, even though that kind of happens anyway.
Yeah.
But we actually, when we talked earlier today about these, we talked about something else entirely. We didn't actually talk about our bottoms. So this is just an interesting coincidence. Okay, number 23, I had Oops. I have Oops because I don't really care about the Jade Charlie drama. I don't give a fuck. Whether it's true, whether it's not true, whether it's fan made up or it's not fan made up, it matters to me not one iota. I don't like Oops because again, it's that like 50s vibe to the song. Not that 50s vibe is a problem per se, but like it sounds like I don't know, I just don't like the sound. It has a similar vibe as, like, FU does, and I like FU, but they're different. It's different. I don't know. You guys know. I don't have to justify it. You guys all hate Oops too. I do kind of like the concept of or not that let me rephrase. I don't necessarily like the concept. The concept always surprises me in a positive way whenever I go back to listen to the song because I always just have this impression that the song sucks because it kind of does. And so I'm being really mean to it, guys. I'm kind of sorry. I'm being a little extreme, and I shouldn't be so extreme, and that's really what I'm sorry about. Anyway, I just kind of have an impression that's like a meh song, and whenever I listen to it, which is typically when someone is reacting to Glory Days, the album, or when I'm watching the Oops live performance, I didn't see it as like exes getting back into bed together. I saw it as like two friends falling into bed, being like, "Ooh, let's not talk about that," and then being like, "Wait, we're in love." And so I don't know. There's something about that, like how to describe it. That like very succinct way of being like, oops, like just kidding. Like it literally is in the lyrics. Like it's the like catchy succinct way of being of like the way the entire concept is like is summed up in a matter of like a couple lines. Something about that I like. Song as a whole, don't like. Anyway, that's my positive thing about Oops.
Yeah, like Oops is weird because I don't I don't really like the song, which is why it's so low, but it's also not one of like the worst songs I've heard, which is like a stigma. I think that's like really heavy in the fandom. But I prefer it live a lot more. Like I'm not really a Charlie Puth fan, so that's another reason why it's slow, just because I don't typically listen to his music. But I do think that his voice combined with theirs is a pretty good mix. So I prefer it live just because it just sounds better overall to me. But yeah, I'm not a fan of it like in the studio and like I wouldn't listen to it on its own.
Number 22, I have You Gotta Not.
I also have You Gotta Not.
We are killing this.
I'm pretty sure ours are different the next one though.
I think they are, but I think they're close.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've actually remembered some more of my pre-Stan Little Mix past, guys. If you've listened to the very first episode where we talked about like how we became fans, you'll know that I had a very fuzzy history with Little Mix up until I actually started standing them. Because I didn't know I was going to stand them one day, and therefore did not hold the memories in my long-term memory bank. And uh, anyway, I had recollection as I was making this that I actually heard You Got a Knot. Mm, it was like when Glory Days came out. I can't I okay, so here's the thing, guys. I don't have like the history of it. I remember listening to it on a bus commuting like home from college. That's my memory of it. I think around like Thanksgiving. So I must have found it when the song came out. I remember feeling really conflicted about the song at that time because I really, really wanted to like this concept. There's like two lines in the song of I don't get paid to babysit anyone. Like I need an adult. Like I need a partner and an equal. Which the way it's phrased in the song is I don't get paid to babysit anyone. I need a man. And that's right there where I feel weird about it. So my issue with You Gotta Not isn't necessarily that it's like it's just an updated version of Going Nowhere, which I don't really have a problem with. But it's written by Megan Trainor, and if you've listened to other Megan Trainor songs, sorry if you like Megan Trainor. Not sorry that you like her, but sorry because I'm about to say not nice things. Her songs are fake progressive or problematic progressive, not fake, problematic progressive. So like I remember way, way, way back in the day, like her song All About That Bass or whatever it is, that like did a little bit of like body shaming. It just wasn't fat shaming. And like some of the other songs, if you listen to hers, like Dear Future Husband and stuff, are very problematic. And I've actually shared a parody of Dear Future Husband on my community page before because I thought it was really great. And it like the parody like goes over the things that are like problematic in the song and stuff. So anyway, I have a lot of like different problematic things with her music and her lyrics, and I have the same issue with her own music that I have with this song, even though it's sung by Little Mix, which is that I didn't plan to do this, but I'll pull it up to prove my point because I remember people fighting about this under one of my posts once. Someone was accusing me or someone else. It was a long conversation. There was a lot of replies. Someone was like accusing people of just saying they hate it because it's popular to hate it and there's nothing wrong with it. Here are my issues with the song. Yeah, see, like Genius describes it as a sassy feminist anthem, and I think that it can't be described as a feminist anthem. And this is why. So whatever. So you have calling your mom and mommy, keep asking her for money, like never keep your house clean, worry during laundry, whatever. This is about like grow up, be an adult, right? Is that what you call flirting? Like whatever. We're kind of like there's a little bit of like unnecessary shaming that's happening in the song. Like if someone's an awkward flirt, like are we really shaming them for that? Like people are awkward. Like we're all socially awkward sometimes, especially if you get nervous or something. Um anyway, whatever. Not the main reason I don't like the song. I'm just scanning it as I talk to you guys. Okay, so here's my issue with it. Oh, you don't like kids, you gotta not. There's nothing wrong with that. Like that's not a reason to diss someone. If you don't want kids, you don't want kids. That's not like that shouldn't be weaponized to use against someone to make them feel lesser or like not mature enough or like less like it, that's fine. If you don't want kids, you don't want kids. You don't have to have kids. You don't have to like kids. They're not for everyone. So I don't like that line. And you love whitey tighties again. Like, why are we shaming people for what they choose to wear as underwear? Like, if they're happy with what they're wearing, then they're happy with what they're wearing. And then like they only show off your muffin top. Here's the thing, like that implies you love whitey tighties because they only show off your muffin top. Muffin tops have like a negative stigma. So if you're like making someone fun of someone for wearing whitey tighties and having a muffin top, it's a little too close to body shaming for me. Yeah, so it's things like that. And then I don't like this idea of like I need a man, like this idea that like this concept of man, I don't like to right because that concept can get really problematic from like a toxic like testosterone like masculinity toxic masculinity, that's what I'm trying to get to. That like idea of like being a man is very closely like related to toxic masculinity, and so I don't really like that concept, and so I don't like that the entire chorus is I need a man who acts like a man. It's like, well, what's a man? Like, are you just saying you need someone who's an adult, or like are you saying that you need a man who doesn't act feminine or doesn't act a certain way? So I don't know. So that it makes me feel iffy. I don't really like that about it. Again, I like this line, like, so hear me now, I don't get paid to babysit no one. I like that concept that like women are not looking to get into relationships to do emotional labor, like as if they're babysitting someone, like it's supposed to be a partnership. I like that line. I like that reference of emotional labor that women do in their relationships, especially with men. But like, that's kind of the only thing about the song that I really like. Those very specific things about the song lyrically that I just really rub me the wrong way and make me not want to say like I wouldn't describe this as a feminist anthem. I think you're misusing the word feminist, and it's a very like it's a very narrow song, and that's why I don't think that it fits that, and that's why I don't like it. That's my personal reasoning. Other people have different reasons. It's not because it's about like this idea of like wanting a partner to step up. It's just like these specific aspects of it I just don't like. All right, go ahead. I went on enough.
Yeah, this one I'm just not like a Megan Trainor fan. I don't really like her style of music. So this one I'm not a fan of just because I'm not a fan of that style. Like you said, there's a lot of lyrics that are a little bit questionable in my opinion, and I don't really like them. Um, this one, there's like a lot of not a lot, but there's like a few places that are like kind of catchy. So like that's kind of fun because they kind of just stick in your head and like kind of like a little nice beat to it. But like other than that, I just am not a fan of the song.
Number 21, I have Your Love.
I have Private Show.
All right. You all are gonna get mad at me. I just don't like it. Sorry guys, you do so many of these album rankings and you start to realize that the reasoning really is like it's just not for you.
Yeah.
I lyrically don't find the song that interesting. Concept, don't really find it that interesting. Melody is fine. I don't really like the instrumental. It feels very summery, which is not really something I like. And that's kind of it.
So with Private Show, this one is really just I'm not a fan of the sound of it. Like the whole like beginning uh production I just don't really like.
That's not the right melody.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. Yeah, I don't know that I've just never really liked that. Um the rest of the song is like fine, but like that's still kind of present throughout it. It's really just the sound. Like the rest of the song for me is fine. I just don't really
Is
like
it that noise or is it that melody?
I'm not too sure. It might be a bit of both. It's
Something
just
about the chorus melody slash noise.
yeah, it's just something about that I'm not a fan of.
Okay, in my head I know the melody, but when it tries to come out of my mouth, I don't know it.
Something
There it
like
is.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really like it. I don't know why. I wish I knew why because everybody's always like talking about how much they like this song and I want to like it, but I don't know why.
I will reveal more later.
Keep it a mystery for now.
Number 20, Is Your Love Enough?
I also have Is Your Love Enough?
We're killing this.
We
I'm
really
gonna say that
are.
every time. I'm gonna say it every time. It's so true. It gets more and more true every time. Um, we were worried that you guys wouldn't have suspense, but really, we're like hyping ourselves up.
We really are.
Um, okay, so we actually just did before this happened, we had to do a quick refresher on the Platinum Edition songs, or I did anyway, because I don't listen to them, which, hint, hint at the next couple songs. And yeah, so they all kind of have a similar vibe, just isn't really for me. Is Your Love Enough, though, is so annoyingly repetitive, for me personally. If you're like, love this song and it's your vibe, like, that's you do you, but for me, it's the same thing over and over, and there's only really 2 girls singing in it, so it's, like, not dynamically as interesting as when there are 4. Meh, I don't know, not for me.
I'm gonna reference the comment that we
Oh my
read
god, that's
earlier.
amazing, yes, please do it.
What was it? What was it? It was
Oh, no, Jade featuring Perry with sounds from Leigh-Anne and Breathing by Jessie. Is
yeah, because that's pretty much what
that
it
what it
was.
was?
Like the line distribution. Yeah, the line distribution was just so off on it. So that made me that I originally had it up a little bit higher, but that dropped it down a little bit. I like it when they sing an even amount or close to an even amount. This one's also just like really repetitive, like you already said. And I watched somebody, I don't remember who did it because it was a while ago, but I watched somebody do a cover of this and they did it like a lot slower, like they slowed it down a lot. And ever since I listened to that, now I want it to be a ballad. So I would love it if they like had slowed it down and maybe like switched it up a little bit to make it more ballady.
Gotcha.
So now I'm kind of like wishing it was something else. So that kind of like ruined it. I shouldn't have listened to the cover.
Number 19, I have Dear Lover.
I have Touch featuring Kidding.
Basically, for me, it's slightly less repetitive and annoying than Is Your Love Enough. Like, I, like, started Dear Lover and I was like, "Wait," the first, like, minute of the song, I was like, "Wait, do I actually not really dislike this as much as I thought I did?" And then we got further into it, I was like, "No, this is why I dislike it." For me, it gets boring really fast.
For Touch featuring Kidding, I mean, I feel like that one's just kind of self explanatory. Kidding's feature on that was irrelevant. Wasn't a fan. Like the original better. So I just don't like the feature. The feature is like what drags it down. So that's why that one's so low.
Number 18, I have Shout Out to My Ex Acoustic.
So do I.
Okay, guys, hang on. Before you start keyboard yelling at us, hang on. One moment. So we decided before this podcast started, before we hit record, we decided that we were going to include the acoustic versions of No More Sad Songs, Shout Out to My Ex, and Touch. But we hadn't previously separately prepared to have them on the list. So we had to do it together, like before we hit record. And initially the instinct, right, was to base it on the live versions of the acoustics, which arguably for some of them we like more than the original versions of the studio. But I, for whatever reason, I like hadn't I wanted to double check it. Because I wasn't sure if I wanted to replace some of the songs with whatever. So I decided to double check it. I went back and I listened to the studio versions of the albums, not the albums, of the acoustic versions. Um, they're not the same. Um,
Nope.
the live acoustics we get are not the acoustics on the album, which is really duh to anyone who listens to the album versions, but I do not. The only acoustic I regularly listen to off of Glory Days is No More Sad Songs. I don't usually listen to Shout to My Ex or Touch acoustic. I didn't really remember what they sounded like in the studio. They are completely and utterly different to what we get live. Like so different. The arrangement is different. The form, like like the arrangement of the lyrics and the songs are different. The vocal arrangements are different. It is all different. So keeping that in mind, that is why Shout Out to My Ex and some of the other acoustics are going to be ranked way lower than you're going to be happy with. It's the studio versions. Keep that in mind with us. Studio versions are what we're ranking when we talk about the acoustics. That in mind, the Shout to Max acoustic, especially knowing what the live one sounds like, this was a real disappointment. First of all, the mixing is a little bit off. Perry is too loud when it starts, and then the girls are yelling at you in the chorus. um, and what I mean by that, guys, is that they're like belting it out on the chorus, but it's like this really kind of like softer instrumental, not like a slow song, but like it's a softer instrumental and a beat drop than it is on the original. And yet they're still like yelling at you. Or it sounds like they're yelling at you and it's very aggressive. And they do not sing it that way live for a reason. And uh yeah, so didn't love that. Jade and Jesse's solos were fine. Jesse's solo was a little like too, because like the background vocals was just Jade really really quietly being like ow, and it was like okay, but that's not as fun as it is live. So obviously in the studio version, the harmonies, the backing harmonies are always going to be less prevalent than on a studio track. But to have like one girl doing it versus like three girls doing it, it just sounds different. Chorus was a lot of yelling. By yelling, I just mean it was really loud, guys. Like they were belting the chorus, but it was just really loud. Like if they were gonna keep belting it the way they did in the original song, then it needed to get turned down. And if they were not gonna turn it down, then they needed to not be belting it. Personal opinion. So it was like I constantly wanted to adjust my volume depending on what part of the song it was at. They don't have the like my life harmony that you do in the live version, which is disappointing because that's my favorite part of the live version. And then also it takes away, like in the studio version, it has like Perry's like, high note and stuff, but it takes away the harmony on her high note, which was disappointing. I really like that harmony. So that was kind of like a moment as well. So ultimately, I just thought it lacked. Like I didn't like some production things about it in general, but then also like in comparison to the live acoustic, not as good in my opinion. So it's down here.
Yeah, pretty much everything you said. Just how it's just so different compared to like the live one, and because I like the live one quite a bit, it like just wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah, you forget that there are reasons that you don't listen to the acoustics on studio. In my head, acoustics are just always better because I always think about acoustics as being live.
Yeah,
But turns out studio acoustics are dicey. Number 17, I have If I Get My Way.
I have touch acoustic.
Um, there wasn't a gasp, but I know. And from other conversations, I just know that she ranks this up higher. Okay, so If I Get My Way, it's the same thing I've been kind of saying about the other Platinum Edition songs. I like this concept, these lyrics a little bit better. So it's higher than the other ones, but again, I don't particularly like the song that much, and so it's at the bottom. The production choices of Shout to Max are what have it below this song. If the production choices in Shout to My Ex were different, maybe Shout to My Ex would have gone above If I Get My Way. But Shout to My Ex acoustic had lots of like volume problems, like mix problems is what I really mean. And so yeah, so anyway, that means that If I Get My Way goes above it. And it's just the Platinum Edition song I like the most, and so it's on top.
Yeah, so touch acoustic again,
Very different.
studio version, not the real one, because originally I had this one way higher until I heard it. um, it's the same thing as Shout Out to My Ex. It's very different arrangement. It's just not as good as the one that you hear live, or at least it's the live one is the one that I prefer. Um, yeah, I don't remember exactly what was different.
I remember. You want me to tell you?
Yeah, I'm like blanking. I'm getting them mixed up with Shout Out to My Ex.
Touch was Jesse singing 20.9 seconds,
I knew it was something with
and
Jesse's.
Perry singing the entire song, and Larry being the only ones to sing the chorus.
Yeah, it was just really weird. Um, so that's why it's also low.
I didn't say that, guys, is like because of these things that means it's low, but like if you like the original Touch version, right? Like the original studio version, then the acoustic vocal arrangement is almost like a complete invert of not a complete, but like in the studio, the touch chorus is primarily Jadesy with like Lee harmonizing, and at the very end of the song, it's like all four of them. So like that's a very different chorus than the acoustic, which is just Larry singing it, no other harmonies from the other girls the entire time. Like that's a very different sound to the chorus. And then Perry gets the least amount of time on the original version. She sings the most on the acoustic. That's not inherently a bad thing, but again, it's a change in the sound of the song. So her voice is very distinct, very powerful. It's very different than, for instance, what it sounds like as a live acoustic, where that's not at all the impression that it gives. It's just a different way that the song sounds, and there's like kind of just a lack of I mean, there's something nice about this. However, because I'm used to the original Touch acoustic, I am kind of talking about this, guys, because mine's coming up. But like, I'm just trying to justify it before people attack us for being upset that like Larry sang the most. It just changes the way the song sounds, and if you are thinking about the Touch live acoustic and the way that sounds and thinking that that sounds really beautiful, that is not what the studio Touch acoustic sounds like. It doesn't mean the studio Touch acoustic is bad. It just means that that sound is, even the arrangement is different. Like Perry opens on the studio, it's not Lee. So like they're different. The arrangements are different, like the vocal, the instrumental, like it's all just different. The harmonies, even like the layering of harmonies, like the amount of harmonies and the intricacies of the harmonies, like that's more complicated in uh live because they actually have more than one girl doing backing harmonies the entire song. So it's a choice to make it simple on the studio version, but that means that it changes the feel of the song. So that's what we talk about. We don't necessarily mean that because Larry sang the chorus instead of Jade-Z, that means it's bad or something, and that's why it's lower. It just changes the feel of the song, which changes how you rank the song.
It's like if you like the acoustic that's live so much more, or like just as much as like I do, then it's gonna be like, oh, it's not the same. But if you don't really care about the acoustic live, then you probably won't even mind. It just depends. It's like just what you prefer, pretty much.
All right, at number 16, I have Touch featuring Kid Ink.
I have Nothing Else Matters.
Um, Touch featuring Kid Ink. Okay, here's the thing. Uh, I don't really like Touch to begin with, and then I don't really like Kid Ink. I mean, I don't know him as a person. I don't like him on the song, and um, and I debated whether or not it should go below the Platinum Edition songs. But there were two things. One of them doesn't count, but I did it anyway. Okay, the first one, it does count. And it's that Touch. I've heard it so many goddamn times that it's like all the other singles I don't like. You just start to get used to it and think you like it and want to listen to it more because you've heard it so often. It's that like psychological thing. The more exposure you are to something, the more familiar it is, the more comfortable you feel with it. That's how I feel about Touch. So A, there's that. B, this is the one that I shouldn't have used to calculate my decision, but I did, which is that dance break with Kid Ink is the best Touch dance break ever, and I don't care that you guys like the LM5 tour one. I like the Ink Touch one. So that's all I got.
So with Nothing Else Matters, it's just for me it's just okay. It's not one that I listen to very often. Um Pretty much just what I put in my notes is that I just like the other ones better. It doesn't really like I don't really relate anything to it. So it's just kind of one that's there. Like if it comes on, I'll listen to it, but I don't like actively put it on a playlist. It's just kind of there.
Okay, at number 15, I have Touch Acoustic.
I have Power without the feature.
Okay, so Touch Acoustic. I kind of talked about this earlier. I don't need to rattle on more and dig myself into a hole if I've already dug myself one. Um, it's just a different song. There is something that I can appreciate about the studio version of the song, but ultimately I like the live one better, and I don't really like Touch to begin with, so it was gonna be low no matter what. The fact that I like the actual live version acoustic better than the studio acoustic just made it a little bit lower.
So everybody's gonna hate me, but well, maybe not. So Power is like what it's one of my favorite singles, but I only listen to it with Stormzy on it. I don't listen to the one without the feature. and to me it just doesn't sound right without him on it, because I feel like his part really makes the song, and it's one of the parts that I really like in the song. So for me, this one's just another one of those ones where it's there. I don't really listen to it, but it's there. I don't like despise it, but I just like don't. I would choose the other version of Power before I chose this one.
I'm gonna hold off on saying my piece because I have things to expand on that.
Yeah.
Which brings me up to my number 14, which is No More Sad Songs featuring MGK.
Mine is Your Love.
So I bet there are some of you being like, I thought she really liked No More Sad Songs. Why is it at number 14? Well, then there's the other half of you that are going, she likes the bridge. I'm just narrating you guys as if you exist. I mean, you guys do exist, but like, you don't exist yet. I'm imagining like little people. I don't know what's wrong with me today. So,
Oh,
uh,
God.
No More Sad Songs. Okay, so this is my ranking of No More Sad Songs without the bridge, essentially, which is my favorite part of the song. It makes the song for me. I've said that before. I'll say that forever. And I don't dislike the song. However, like, I'm actually wondering if I should have. No, I made the right choice. Okay, sorry. I'm debating whether or not I put it in the wrong place because I'm wondering if maybe it should have been up one. But no, I think I made the right choice. Um, so anyway, yeah, that's just if you want to know what I thought about the song without Jesse's bridge, it's number 14.
Mine is. Mm, I don't really have anything like negative to say about Your Love, so there's that. But it's like it's one I actually do really like. But it's kind of what I said about Strip. It's one that I tend to skip a lot. Like I'm like, oh, I like that one, but it'll come up and I skip it. I don't know why, but it's the same thing that happens to me when Strip comes on. If you watched our LM5 ranking, you'll know what I mean.
Number 13, I have Power without Stormzy.
I have Dear Lover.
Um, all right, here's what I wanted to say while you were talking about it, which is that I do agree that I don't want to say like it's hard for me because I don't want to say like Stormzy doesn't make or break the song, but it is one of their only songs where I think a feature improved the song.
Yeah.
Like Power would be a really conflicting song for me if Stormzy never featured on it, and I actually have objective reasoning why. So the bridge of the original Power, I'm not the hugest fan of the slowdown, like the way they decided to do it. I'm not the hugest fan. It's fine. That's not going to make me say that Stormzy improves it. Why I think that he improves it is the motorbike in the bridge is a mistake, in my personal opinion. Obviously, it's not an actual mistake. They intended to put it in, but for me, as far as like the buildup of a song, I think it's a mistake to put in motorbike right there so close to the end of the song and then to do it again like what less than a minute later. I think that's a mistake. I think that that's too many times. It's too repetitive. It's off-putting. At the end of the song, it's like a good way to like leave off. It's like an interesting change up at the end. But to do it in the middle of the bridge where you just slowed everything down and then to go back to the chorus only to repeat the same trick you just pulled, I think is a mistake. So I actually like that bothers me. I think it ruins the effect that the motorbike has in the Stormzy version. And yeah, so that's my objective thing is the bridge isn't something I dislike per se, but I think the motorbike in it is a mistake and ruins the tension and buildup of the song. On an intellectual level, I do really like Stormzy being in it based on what he says. I think it's a nice way to show allyship, and I think he does a really good job with that. I've said it before in the lyrics episode and in other episodes that I like when he talks about like complimenting your vibe and all of that because I think that's kind of true allyship right there. Is to like stand with someone as they fight for the thing that's oppressing them, and you just kind of like provide the backbone for them to have the ability to do that, right? Like you give them the strength and numbers that they need and the show of force that they need, and you fill in the gaps, right? While they fight the big battle and they express themselves. And I think like his part does a good job of kind of talking about that in a way. So, um, I actually just not now I'm talking about Stormzy's one, but like that's for me why I think that the original version of Power gets ranked less. The reason why I was talking about debating whether or not I should have switched No More Sad Songs with Power was because I was thinking, oh well, like maybe I should have, but I really love the rest of Power besides that part of it, right? So I was like, just leave it up there. Um, so that was the reasoning for Power, and then why I was thinking about trying to move it in mid sentence before, and um, yeah, that's my number 13.
So with Dear Lover, despite the fact that Jesse only sings for 12 seconds on it, I this how do I want to say this? This song is really different in my opinion to like a lot of the songs on this album. Like it doesn't really go with the rest of them, but I like how it does that. And this is like a style of music that I like a little bit more. I like this type of production, and I really like the instrumental behind it. So that's really like the what won it for me, I guess how you could say it, is like the instrumentals, just because I really like that part of it. Um, but the rest of it is it's still good, but I just really like the production and like instrumental of that. That's something I like when they do, but they don't do it very often.
Number 12. Everyone say it with me. Touch.
I have shout out to my ex.
I don't know who's gonna be more unpopular, me or you.
I know. Just wait till my 11.
Oh yeah, same. Okay, so I feel like all I've been talking about is touch. Like I said the previous two times, touch is just not really for me. I just like the song just isn't for me. The best thing about touch, in my opinion, is that it's non-gendered, um, and that's kind of really all I got about that.
Yeah, with shout out to my ex, it's another one that's just overplayed because it is like they're one of their most popular songs, if not the most popular. At least over here in the US it is. And I really hate to say that like Shout Out to My Ex isn't one of my favorites because it's like the song that made me like Little Mix and like all that, but it just got overplayed. It got overperformed. It's like what you said, you get familiar with it, so you get comfortable. But yeah, it's just not one of my favorites, which I know is like gonna be really unpopular, but I feel like the other songs that they have or at least the songs that are higher up on this list have more meaning to it and I just enjoy those songs more. This one, if I hadn't heard it all the time and like didn't hear it like just constantly, which I know I just said, I would like it a lot more. Um, that's really my main reason. It's just I just hear it way too much.
Hmm. For anyone wondering why touch is above power when I legitimately like power, uh, um, the answer to that is that I had trouble ranking Touch Power No More Sad Songs featuring MGK. Um, but like they switched rankings a lot while I was trying to figure this out. But the reasoning I came down to with it was that the original version of Power, they're like I like everything about it, but which kind of like ruins it a little bit. Whereas like touch, like and just kind of neutral all the way through, and so there's not that like kind of like bad aftertaste, so or bittersweetness or whatever, however you want to describe it. And so, touch is before power because it lacks that like bittersweetness to it because I don't know that there's better out there because there's not better out there. Touch is just touch. The other versions of touch aren't as oh well. Touch does have a better version. The live acoustic is better than the studio, but that's not on the ranking. So, um, uh, yeah. So that is the reason why touch was above power. I'm so sorry. I think this is like the most cluttered I've ever been during a ranking. uh, And it's to be fair, guys, I did these rankings all at once about 2 or 3 months ago. I think before the podcast was even a thing, I already had these. Um, and so these are like kind of unfamiliar to me in the sense that I haven't looked at them in a long time. So the reasoning kind of when trying to explain it to people can be a little hard to express sufficiently or efficiently, both really. All right, number 11. I have Reggaeton Lento. I
Really?
know. I know.
Wow. I have touch. We're both unpopular.
Oh, unless I'm taking the heat off of you for shout out to my eggs.
Yeah, that's true.
Also we'd like to just like keep in mind that you guys that like we're already like above halfway up the list.
Yeah. These are
Um
like top half.
this is like top middle, upper middle. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let's just keep that in mind. For me, again, it's such a like a genre style of music that's like I don't really like to listen to. So I also like to listen to music that I understand. I think it's great that there are bilingual songs and that there are songs other obviously that are not in English. But for me personally, as someone who only understands English and who finds lyrics very important when they take into consideration like whether or not they enjoy a song, it's important to me that I know what's being said and that I know what's accurately being said and not just like a poor translation done on Google Translate or something like that. Because I'm like a bit of like an English like geek and like a reading writing geek, and so I believe that like the way you choose to word things matters, and that all gets very dicey when you're trying to translate things into a different language or translate things out of a language. And that's it. Yeah, the genre just isn't really for me, and I just like to be able to understand all the lyrics in the songs I listen to.
So, touch is at this point of the ranking for a similar reason to shout out to my ex. It's just overplayed, it's overperformed. So that makes me not as excited to see it because we've seen it so many times. Also, this I've said this in a few rankings before, but everybody is always talking about how good touch is and how it's like the best single they've ever done and all this stuff. And I'm a very petty person. So the more people that tell me to like it, I'm not gonna like it as much. Even though I did like it, it makes me not want to like it because that's just how I am.
Yeah, I definitely get harsher on touch because everyone overhypes it.
Yeah, like it's the same thing that happened with I think what was it, Notice and Nothing But My Feelings. It's
Mm.
one that the fandom just hypes up all the time. And even though I do like the songs, the more it's pushed on me, the more I'm not gonna want to like it. So and that
I
like
just
that
don't
just
like
makes me
being told that something I like is the best of all time, and if I don't agree with that, there's something wrong with me. Like, let me do my
yeah.
thing.
So that's one reason why it's lower because I did like it. It was higher up because I actually do really enjoy that song. But when that started happening a lot over the past few months, as like they started releasing new music, it made me dislike it more. Not because of the song, just because of like the hype it holds.
For me personally, these albums are things, or a lot of them are albums that I had like teasers of or tastes of prior to becoming a stan. And when you're a casual listener of an artist, you do not do that thing where you cushion fall all of the other songs to fall down onto.
Mm.
Which is what you do with artists that you really like, right? You create like this padded layer for the bottom of the floor that they're all going to hit when you don't like something, so that it's not that bad. You just don't, no, 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 no. You don't do that when you're a casual listener because you don't care. So for me, a lot of these are a little bit more blunt because I'm also going off of what my first impression of them was as well. So like how it changed over time, but also what my first impression was. And like Touch, I would have listened to for like 30 seconds and skipped right over. Watch the music. I remember seeing the music video before I was an actual fan. I remember not liking it. I don't even know if I watched the full thing. I don't have like strict memories where I could tell you guys the story of what happened, but like I have flashes of seeing some of these things before I started like standing them in 2018, and I didn't like it then. It's even after listening to them sing it a cajillion thousand times. Again, it's not that I like it more now. It's just that it's more familiar to me, more comfortable, more likely to rank it higher. Um, that's just kind of like that. So that plays into the things I say in my rankings. So in case you guys ever wonder why maybe I'm more blunt or it seems like maybe I don't like as many of the songs on these previous albums, or I don't know, whatever impression I might be giving off that might be negative about it. I just want you guys to keep in mind that some of these impressions also get factored into the fact that they happened before I was like a huge fan of Little Mix themselves.
I
So, sorry, go ahead. I don't remember what we're doing. Are you talking?
I don't remember either. I was just gonna say that I got lucky because um I heard this like way after I was familiar. So these are all just like ones that I listened to really quickly through to get familiar.
Yeah, because it's a different experience once you know you've heard something like it, it's a different experience ranking an album that has like okay, so even LM5 to an extent, besides the promo singles, because by the time the full album came out, I was pretty much in the fandom. Um, but like Confetti and LM5, there's a difference between ranking those songs based on like the songs based on how do I say this? Okay, so my ranking for songs like DNA to Glory Days, a lot of them are based on my impressions of those albums and those songs um according to how they entered my life and like when they entered my life and like what I did with them at that point in my life. Uh and whereas like the rankings that you have for I have at least for LM5 and Confetti are based on my experiences with the song within the fandom within the experience of being a Little Mix stan. So those are like very different things. I don't know how to like really describe that for people. Hopefully like you've just experienced this with other artists and you just know what I'm talking about, but like it definitely will change the way I talk about some of these songs and these albums. So if you're sensing that shift, that is what's happening. uh you just talked about your number 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm moving on. All right, number 10, I have Nothing Else Matters.
I have No More Sad Songs acoustic.
Number 10, Nothing Else Matters. To be honest, like this song is kind of like we've hit official neutral ground. Like we've hit ground zero on my track list, like listing, ranking, whatever you want to call it. Uh, there's like all the positive, all the pros and the cons, just kind of like cancel each other out to get a nice, even zero neutral feeling for Nothing Else Matters. And that sounds like I'm saying a mean thing, but I promise I'm not meaning to. Uh, it's just like it's like a little catchy. It's not super catchy. The lyrics are a little but like at least it's got a real chorus and stuff. Like they turned it into the song is supposed to have more meaning than it does, so it gets a little uptick, but then the song doesn't actually but the lyrics don't actually have the meaning that the song is supposed to have, and so it gets a little downtick, and like everything about Nothing Else Matters kind of like evens itself out one way or the other eventually for me. So it ends up at number 10, like the true kind of like neutral ground for me on the Glory Days album.
Yeah. No More Sad Songs acoustic. That one I like the studio acoustic because we never got like an actual real acoustic. Um it's one that I like, but before this I hadn't listened to it since maybe like last year. So it's just one I don't really listen to that much, but I like it. So that's what makes it really high up. Um and I really like No More Sad Songs. So, yeah, it's just kind of there.
Also, it's not a severely altered acoustic.
Yeah.
Like the acoustic that you get, no acoustic No More Sad Songs is not like so terribly different from the original version. And since we never got a live one, meh. um,
We don't have anything to base it off of.
right, exactly. All right, on to number 9. I have Private Show.
I have Reggaeton Lento.
Private Show. I like that. I like that thing that annoys you. I actually kind of like. I think it's like a little too much in the song. Like it gets kind of tiring.
Mhm.
Uh, but I do like it. Uh, I'm not in love with it. I wouldn't go out of my way to say that if you hadn't mentioned it already. Um, it's not like something about the production I really enjoy. I just you mentioned you don't like it, and in my head I went, "Oh, you kind of like that," so I thought I'd mention it. If no one in the room disliked it, I wouldn't go out of my way to say I do like it, just so we're clear on the levels of how much I like it. Uh, and I think I overplayed it too much. Private Show is one of the songs I discovered after becoming a stan, so it was one I overlooked as a casual fan, probably because it was about sex. And I'm sure I've ranted about this somewhere in the podcast. For me, if I'm a casual listener of an artist and I find a song about sex, I'm very likely to just skip over it because I don't need more songs about that in my life. They're kind of everywhere. I like if I'm actively looking through an artist's like album or something, which is what I've done with which is what happened with Little Mix. Then I am looking for songs to add to my library and to my playlists that have more meaning than that. Because those songs are everywhere. I don't have to go looking for those. So it was one I overlooked initially. And then so I think I kind of overplayed it on myself when I initially became a stan. But for me, honestly, like Jesse's Bridge is the best part. Personally, I really
Yeah.
like the way it slows down and like the snapping that's in it. Like it feels very like I don't know how to describe it, but I think that's the best part. I mean, I like the rest of the song as well, but I do like the bridge the best.
Yeah, I like that part. Um, so with Reggaeton Lento, I personally really like this one. I like listening to Latin music. Um, I'm not sure why it's not higher. I guess it's just I like the other songs more. Um, yeah, I like listening to songs that have other languages in it because I like to listen to a lot of Latin music. I like to listen to a lot of German music. I know it's random, but I like listening to those songs. Um, it does help that I can understand it, and it's one that I can play like with my family around because everybody likes it and understands it. So that one's nice. So yeah, that one's moved up probably more because I can play it around like relatives, um, and like everybody just kind of gets into it. So yeah,
What is the actual lyrics?
it's I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't speak Spanish fluently. I speak very broken
I
Spanish.
think it's like Reggaeton Lento is like it's like slow dancing or something. It's a type of slow
Yeah,
dancing.
it's slow dancing. A lot of it's like I think it's something about like dancing like the night away. I could be wrong. I haven't looked at the lyrics in a very long time, so I'm not 100% on that. Um, but yeah, I know when I looked at it, I understood it, but now I'm thinking like I'm second guessing that.
That's okay. You don't have to tell me.
I'm like
Uh,
yeah,
like I like that songs are that I like that songs do that, but just for me personally, like it's just not for me just because I get so hung up on lyrics. Like I need to be able to understand what I'm listening to. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, so it's just like an obstacle for me personally. I like that there are songs like that. I think it's more inclusive for people who are bilingual or multilingual. But as someone who like can't even speak English properly and sucks at trying to learn new language, um, it's just like and is like a word freak. I like to be able to understand what I'm listening to because otherwise I don't really feel comfortable jamming out to something if I don't know what it means.
yeah. Like that's why I like listening to a lot of German music because that I do speak like somewhat fluently.
Mm,
Um, but like Spanish, I'm like I speak very broken Spanish. It's like very like uh more like Spanglish.
mm,
Um, so this one it's like certain parts I get, and then certain parts I'm like I kind of miss that. So yeah,
gotcha.
so it helps I can like kind of get it, and like I know kind of what they're saying, but I don't know it like word for word.
Mm. Let's see. Number 8, I have "Shout Out to My Ex."
I have No More Sad Songs featuring Machine Gun Kelly.
All right. Number 8, "Shout Out to My Ex." It's fine.
That was my favorite part of this entire. It's fine.
This probably didn't make it in. Maybe it's in a blooper. Um,
Please do it. Just shout out to my ex. It's fine.
And then us dying laughing afterwards.
Oh my god.
All right. So what I meant to say was, no, I mean that is kind of what I meant to say. Um, it's fine. Um, the song, what sells the song for me, what makes it at number 8, is honestly just like the sassiness level of the whole thing, especially Perry. Like Perry sells the song so good, and obviously there's a reason for that. Like I remember even because I remember I saw the shout out to my X Factor performance before, like when it first came out. I don't remember how, I don't remember when. I can't tell you anything about the memory. I just remember knowing that I've seen it. And I remember thinking that I really, really liked the song from that performance. And I went and I looked at the music video. And this was, and if you watched our music video rankings, you'll know I talked about the fact that I had seen this Shout to my Ex video prior to being a stan, and how the meaning for me changed and my opinion on the video changed. So this was my time watching it before I was a stan. And I remember watching the video and I like really was kind of disappointed by the song and the video, because for me, the amount of sass level that was in it when it was live, and like the energy of that first performance was just everything. And like I thought that like this was the best song, not the best song, but I thought that I was like really gonna like this song. And then I listened to the studio version and I was like, oh, it's not as good as I remember it being. So it was my first taste of realizing Little Mix are better live. And uh I remember kind of that feeling on it as like an initial impression. But I also like, after having like seen, I think I mean, I didn't save it, but I don't think I would say like, oh, that meant I like didn't like the song after I watched the music video. The song was still fine, but I wasn't really like involved or invested in like the Perry Zane thing. Honestly, the fact that Zane was part of One Direction kind of made me like want nothing to do with Little Mix. Well, specifically Perry. Not because I liked One Direction, but because I didn't want to be involved in that. Like I didn't want to be anywhere near the fandom stuff. And so I like, because I like One Direction, that hype was so ridiculous. Not to be trying to like get down on anyone who's in that fandom or who was in that fandom, but just like for me as someone who like was not into music, did not stand any artists, like did not like deal with like all of that stuff, like the amount of hype that that boy band got for me as an outsider was like way too much. Like I didn't want to be anywhere near it. That wasn't for me. So because Perry was associated with that, it kind of made me want to be like, meh. So I think that's kind of why I didn't download it. But I didn't dislike the song after hearing the studio version either. I just remember really, really liking it live, and then thinking that it was like okay in the studio, but that it wasn't like super noteworthy that I had to download it. I'm kind of picky with the music I download, to be honest. Like if I don't love it and plan to listen to it on repeat, I tend to not download it. I mean, I have Apple Music, so it doesn't cost me anything to download it, but that tends to kind of be my rule. So I think that's all that happened is I listened to it. It was fine. I didn't fall in love with it. I didn't download it. And that was kind of my first experience with Shout Out to My Ex. It's probably a little bit higher. Well, I don't even know that's higher than I would have originally given it, but I'm definitely more. I have more of an appreciation for the song now as a mixer than I did before. I don't know if that changed my ranking, but I do have a better appreciation for it now.
Honestly, no more sad songs with MGK. I have no like negative reason. It's just here. I will say I was happy to see Machine Gun Kelly on as a feature, because since I was still like pretty new to the fandom when I heard this song, it was an artist that I recognized, because a lot of the not a lot of like the artists that they collab with, but like a good few of them are ones that I didn't really know. Um like for example like Stormzy, since he was so popular in like, the UK, I didn't know who he was, and some of like the ones that they like Shreya J, like I didn't know who she was either because she's from the UK, so I wasn't familiar with them. So Machine Gun Kelly made me like more comfortable with the song just because I knew who he was. Um, that being said, it still is pretty low compared to everything I'm saying about it. but it's really just because I like the version without him on it like a tiny bit more. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna
She
leave
has
it.
to say that or else I'll throw a fit.
It's
No, just
like
kidding.
it really like depends on like the day.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, because I really do like Machine Gun Kelly's verse, but like it really just depends on what I'm in the mood for. And when I wrote this, apparently I was in the mood for the not featured version.
All right, number 7, I have No More Sad Songs acoustic.
I have FU.
Um, our lists are starting to get narrow. I wonder how close we're gonna get.
Yeah. We have a
Uh,
lot of the same songs we haven't said yet.
I know. Like we had like almost an identical bottom, and I think we might have like a really close identical top.
Yeah, like maybe like one off or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. We're building suspense for ourselves, guys.
This is more interesting for us than probably you all.
Yeah. All right, so the acoustic version, it has the bridge. It has the bridge, the magical bridge. Yeah, so I do actually listen to this acoustic fairly often. Usually if I put the No More Sad Songs uh original on a playlist, I'll add on the acoustic as well, just so that when I'm listening to it, I don't feel like the song is being too repetitive because it's different instrumentals. That being said, the instrumental, I prefer the original instrumental over the acoustic one. So that's why this one is lower.
With FU, I feel like honestly I should have ranked it higher up. Um,
I feel
but
it.
I don't know why I put it lower. I would have put it closer to number 4 or 5.
Well, you
But
did what I did. You did what I did.
did I?
Well, mine's at number 6. So
Yeah, it's like I know it's a top one, but
it's like
like
when I went to go put it at the top, it ended up down.
yeah, it's because like these fit in before, but like the one at number 6, I'm not really sure why it's above this one, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Okay.
We'll cross that bridge later. Um, yeah, FU is just one that I liked right off the bat. It was one that I listened to all the time. My mom and I have a great time singing that one in the car. um, yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but my mom is like just as big of a stan as I am, if not more sometimes. So that's really fun. Um, so yeah, but yeah, that's like one that we listen to a lot, and I really like watching it live. I think the reason I put it lower is just because compared to like all of the songs above it, except for one, it's a lot slower. So I
Mm,
think maybe I was in like a some high energy mood or something. I have no idea.
sorry, I shouldn't have said that like talking.
um, yeah, I guess I was just more in like a higher energy mood when I made this ranking. So for me, it was like more appealing to have that song lower.
I ish did a similar thing. Ish, excluding one. Uh Number 6, I have FU. All
I have if I get my way.
right, FU is at number 6 because FU, I'm pretty sure, was one of the songs that I initially liked when I listened to Get Weird. When I listened to Glory Days the first time around, but I don't remember downloading it. I don't, or if I did download it, I don't remember listening to it. Like I don't remember it going on a playlist. Or did it? I was just so obsessed with Power. Like Power was what I walked away from. Like I walked away from Glory Days with Power, and like I was so obsessed with Power that I might have downloaded it and put it on a playlist, and I just don't remember because I was so into Power. I don't know, fuzzy memories, guys. Uh, I think I remember liking it. I don't remember if I downloaded it. Maybe I did. I think maybe I actually did. Eh, I don't remember. And anyway, when I came back to it later on, uh, when I became a stan, I was like, "Oh, F you," and I listened to it, and I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "I like that." So, um, whatever. That's the story of that. And Um, I do actually like the way the sound was done. I liked the lyrics. I like that it's kind of like it goes from like kind of like almost sounding really sweet to like aggressive, and like I like the dynamics and the tones in the song. And it's just when I enjoy listening to it, kind of reminds me of Fake Smile from Ariana Grande, which
Yeah.
obviously FU came first. Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah. What's that?
I don't know. Sorry, guys. Don't know what that was. All right. Obviously, Fake Smile came after If You Did by a lot. Oh, cat, stop. um, um, so obviously, FU came way before Fake Smile did, but the songs have kind of but the songs have similar vibes for me for some reason. Cat,
Yeah, they do.
stop! Just whatever you're doing, stop! Stop! Um. Anyway, that's why I like FU. Plus, I saw that. That's why I like FU plus me yelling at my cat and some weird noise. I don't know what that was. Cat, stop. Whatever you're doing, just stop. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll be quiet.
um, I actually don't really know why I put If I Get My Way so high up. Like, I know it's one that I do really like and I do listen to quite
Oh,
often.
do you want to swap FU and If I Get My Way
I
now?
kind of do.
I mean, you can do it. Then we'd have both have number 6 at FU.
Yeah, I might do that.
Let's do it. Do it. Let's set
Okay.
us up for success.
So If I Get My Way is now gonna be at number 7, and Nephew is gonna be at number 6. I don't really know like the reasoning behind it. It's just like it's one that I really like. It's my favorite out of like the platinum edition ones. And
And everyone shits on the Platinum Edition so much, you feel like you have to rate it up higher.
yeah, a little bit of that too. um, but this is like a style that I like to listen to a lot more. It's one that is more of something that I was just gonna rephrase the exact same thing I already said. Basically, I listen to this type of music, like that style of music, a lot more. Um, I don't know, just something about it I really like, and yeah, but I'm gonna have to switch it with FU because I do like FU a little bit more. Um,
Uh,
it's just like I said, I don't know when I did this ranking, but I even like looked back on it like this morning just to double check everything, and I didn't catch that. I caught a few other things and switched them, but I didn't. I don't know why I didn't change that one. But now, at 8 o'clock at night, I want FU at number 6.
all right, number 5, I have Power featuring Stormzy.
That's what I have too.
Yes. I think we're gonna part ways on number 4. I think we're gonna part ways on number 4.
I
Okay,
think
but
so.
I think we are, but we got 6 and 5, guys. So, um, Power. So, like I was saying before, somewhere before, I when I first heard Power, because Power was what Apple Music pushed into my playlists in 2018, like way, way long after the Glory Days era. And I just was obsessed, specifically with Perry and Jesse's parts. I legit just used to play the beginning of the song like over and over and over again just for their parts. I didn't know it was them. I mean, I knew there were 4 girls in the group, but I didn't know like who was singing. I just really liked those 2 parts of the song. And so I used to just play it all the time, which, guys, it's hard to have a song on repeat and only play the first minute of it. uh, so, yeah, so I was super, super obsessed with that. I also really liked the beat drop of Power, and I liked the little. I was old enough to understand what Jesse was talking about and appreciate it.
Yeah, people are like just now realizing it.
I know. I think I said it somewhere. Like, I think I like wrote it out one time, and someone was like, "I didn't realize that's what she said." And I was like, "Mm." I'm like, okay. So I was old enough to know right away what Jesse was talking about, and I got like a kick out of it. So I really liked that. And then I just loved how powerful Perry's was. Yeah, so that is just kind of my reasoning for power, right? So okay, so initial first impression. I guess I'm giving initial first impressions and then evolution over time. That I think that's what I'm trying to do and failing. Okay, initial impression, power, loved it. Um, go Pessy. And uh and then I think I actually didn't like the motorbike part at first, but I got over that. What happened over time? I'm trying to think. I think it just kind of stayed the same, guys. Like I think I just decided that I liked it, and then I continued to like it, and then I became more of a fan, and I still liked it. I don't. There wasn't really like a change for this one.
It's kind of like hard to talk about the ones that like we already talked about further down because
Yeah,
the
it's
only
hard to talk about the
difference.
feature versions or the original. Like it's hard to talk about the counterparts of those.
Yeah, because it's one of my favorite singles, and it's just one that I really liked right off the bat. And I am a Stormzy fan, so I prefer his verse in it. Not just because I like him, but I also just like the verse. I think it really adds a lot.
My number 4 is Nobody Like You.
Mine is No More Sad Songs.
See, I knew it. I knew you were gonna. Okay, Nobody Like You. It was like a surprise one for me because I thought initially that Good Enough was like the be all end all ballads for me for Little Mix. But I actually think most days I like Nobody Like You. I like to listen to Nobody Like You. I like to put it on playlists. I like to listen to it when I'm sad more than I do Good Enough, even though the lyrics of Good Enough are ones I relate to more. It's really weird. I don't like it's just like the emotion and but okay, there's emotion and rawness and Good Enough too. I know Good Enough's not on this album, guys. Don't yell at me. Um um I just like I don't know what it is. Like Nobody Like You just like there's something in like the really like raw emotion and lyrics that really gets me. Maybe one day it'll kind of float back to Good Enough because I think I listened to Good Enough too much and that might have kind of tipped the scales a bit. Yeah, but I don't know for whatever reason. So it was a surprise one to me. I thought I knew I liked the ballad. I didn't realize I liked it that much, but over the last like year or so, it just keeps like becoming like solidifying itself as one that I just really really love. I don't have any like 2017 impression of it. I don't think. I don't remember any anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I just there's something about it that like just really resonates with me for some reason, even though lyrically they don't quite match up right. Mm. Well, okay, here's the thing is that like the sentiment of some of the lyrics resonates really well, even though the exact lyrics don't necessarily match up right. Um, so I don't know. Anyway, that's my Nobody Like You thing.
So with No More Sad Songs, it's kind of like the same thing that I said for like Power. It's kind of hard to like really differentiate, like why I put it so far up compared to like the featured version. Well, I guess it's not that far up, but on my list it looks a lot further up. Um, I like the bridge. It's just a really good bridge. It's like I love the way it like slows down and like it's just yeah. I'm not gonna talk too much on it because I know you're gonna say a lot about it, and I agree with like everything that you're gonna say. So yeah, um, yeah, it's just a really good bridge. And I like the whole like production of it. I like how it slows down with like that whole part because I know like with MGK it slows down like a little bit, but it's still like a pretty like consistent tempo. But I like how it kind of like is like okay, like it feels like there's like a little spotlight or something. I don't know.
Like everything just kind of stops for a second and the lights go down and like
Yeah, and I like that about it. But once again, it's kind of like it depends on like the day. Um, and so right now I'm liking it without the feature, but it could possibly change like next week because I like both versions very highly. So yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, guys, my number 3, no more sad songs.
Mine is Down and Dirty.
Oh, we're just slightly
We're
off.
so
Okay.
close.
Okay. So anyway, no more sad songs. Okay, to go on the rant about the bridge that she didn't want to, because I'm going to. Well, first of all, it's above the acoustic version because I just like the instrumental better. But also, like, there are a couple harmonies. Like, okay, so first of all, before I get to the bridge, which obviously carries the song for me, otherwise the other version wouldn't be so low. Um, but to just appreciate the whole thing, I actually really do like the melody of No More Sad Songs. It's a nice like bonus in addition to already liking the song. It's not enough to make me rate it highly, but it's a bonus that it since it's already rated highly, if that makes sense. So I do actually like that melody of No More Sad Songs. And then there's a beautiful Jadesy harmony. I don't remember exactly where it is. You guys probably know what it is. You know what I'm talking about. There's a beautiful Jadesy harmony, like a minute or longer in. That's like one of my favorite Jadesy harmonies ever. Again, not enough to make me rank the song super high, but is great bonus when the song is already high. The bridge just really, I mean, clearly the only thing that changes, right, in the feature version to the non-feature version is the bridge. And I put for a reminder, I put the non-bridge version, the feature version at number 14, and I put the original at number 3. So there's clearly a very big difference that the bridge makes. Um, so the reason is that like you said, I do really like the tempo switch up of the bridge. And here's why. So the tempo switch up as well as the lyrics. So like in combination, the way like the production kind of like it allows this part room to breathe, which I really like. Because I think that the bridge is actually like the heart of the song in the sense that when I first heard No More Sad Songs, it sounded like it's not actually like a happy breakup song type of song where you're like, I'm over this. It's that point in the breakup where you want to be over it. And so you're like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna be reckless, like I can do what I want. Like, but you're not actually over it. Like you're just trying to chase away all of the negative feelings and all of like the upset, hurt feelings that you still have. Like you just don't want to have them anymore. So you're pretending you don't. And that's always what I got from No More Sad Songs, especially like with the lines like I don't care who's got his hands up on my body. Like you're not out there to have fun. You're out there to forget. Is always the vibe and like the messaging that I personally took from No More Sad Songs, which is kind of interesting but not really special to me, and is a little like okay, like there are a lot of songs like that, and MGK's verse kind of touches on that kind of similar theme, but again, it doesn't really add anything to that meaning. Whereas I think the bridge is like the shining moment of truth in the song. And I'm actually going to pull up the lyrics so that I can quote it directly. And I think I might talk about the lyrics more now than I did in the lyrics episode. um, but this is my moment to love the song, guys. Let me have it. So the bridge is literally like it's that moment of truth. It's like after a long night when you're like the only person left is you, and you're like sitting there and the truth kind of sets in, everything gets quiet and you're not in a loud place and there's not a lot of people around you anymore, and you're kind of like going home, take the long way around, lights past, sit back, the windows down, right? It creates that vibe, that feeling. Again, it's like what you were talking about, that moment where like the lights go down and like a spotlight comes up, you know what I mean? It's that kind of feel. Still got you on my mind, starting to realize no matter what I do, I will only hurt myself trying to hurt you, and if I turn the music loud just to drown you out, right? So like that's the heart, that's the moment in the song where you sit back and you go like, okay, yeah, like I'm not over it. Like it's not like a no more sad songs for real. I like yeah, I'm working on it. I'm still upset. I'm still hurt. Like I'm still being spiteful. Like this is my moment of truth moment. I'm gonna have this little time. And then and if I turn the music loud, right? That's what I was saying before about the idea of like in like going out and like doing this no more sad songs like out in the club with the guy with the whatever with his hands all up on your body. That's about like forgetting, it's about running. And if I turn the music loud, right, that's to block things out, and then just to drown you out, right? And then Perry belting, I'm begging please don't play no more. And so I think that's the heart of the song, and I think it gives it so much more depth and meaning and rawness to it to have that part in the song. Because otherwise it's just a song about going out and partying for whatever reason. Like even if the reason is because like you're in denial and you want to be in denial, that's not really an interesting or that doesn't give it like an interesting depth to the song if you don't talk about it in the song. If I'm just inferring that's what's happening, that's not really interesting. So I really like that, like, the song is like doing that, and then at the bridge it's like, yeah, I know I'm doing it, I'm working on it, like, but in the meantime, while I work on it, turn the music up, and then, we're gonna sing no more sad songs. And so I actually just really like that, like, lyrically, I just think that it's so powerful, and I think that's like the heart of the song, and that is why I rate it so low without the bridge. Like, it's just so beautifully done, and the instrumental really gives it room to breathe and live on its own, and lets those lyrics and Jesse's voice like be the shining moment that it needs to be. And then we get right back into it with Perry belting and leigh-anne and all of that, and that's great. But for me, like, that bridge is like everything. All right, I'm done.
um, Down and Dirty. That one is, it gives me like similar vibes to like FU. It's one that I liked right away, and it's one that I just love to blast because why not? It's a bop. It's a great one. Um, it's definitely like one of my favorites on like their entire discography. Oh my
Discography.
god, I cannot say that word for the life of me. You know what I'm saying? uh,
Mixed catalog.
yeah. Like, I don't know, it's just one that I really, really like, and it's one that I listen to a lot, and then, like, I kinda pushed it down because it's like, I should probably like more of, like, the ones that everybody else likes, and then when I stopped caring, that's when it shot back up. Um, I'm not
Can't
even
keep it down
kidding.
for long.
Yeah, like, literally, like, it started, like, rising in, like, my rankings, like, I wanna say a few months ago because that's kinda when I stopped, like, really caring about, like, if I had the same opinions as everybody else. So yeah, I don't know. It's just something about Down and Dirty. It's just so catchy and so good. Like, I don't know. I cannot put my finger on it, but like the lyrics just are good. Like, it's just like an overall really good song in my opinion.
My number 2 is Down and Dirty.
Mine is Nobody Like You.
Oh, we so close.
We have like the same top 5 just in different orders.
I know, that's so annoying. Okay. Because, like, the orders aren't that superimposed. We could have had the same list depending on the
Yeah,
mood we were in.
literally.
Okay. Down and Dirty, to respond to you, completely agree with everything you said. I really like how, like, dirty it sounds. I never get tired of when that comes on. Like, that instrumental is just that production on that is just so well done.
Yeah.
And so, like, hats off to that, which is not why I like the song, but it's great in addition to liking the song because it means that I don't ever want to skip it. But I really just love, there's like parts of the lyrics. Here I go again. I'm gonna look up the lyrics again, guys. Um, this is what I was talking about when I said that I like to be able to understand the songs that I really truly like. This is why. Like, lyrics make or break songs for me. And so this is you seeing that in action. And I obviously these are some of my favorite Little Mix songs ever, so I'm especially passionate about them. Which is why I haven't necessarily done this for the other albums, because Confetti and LM5 not my favorite. So, like, I'm tasty delicious, I'm rough around the edges, my mind is obsessive, my flex is aggressive. Like, that idea of, like, for me, the first thing I think of course, I like that it's written by the girls, but, like, again, first impressions, I didn't know that when I first listened to it. Down Dirty was one of the ones I liked initially with Power. Um, and I really liked that kind of, like, again, that dirty feel to it, but also like the I'm rough around the edges, my mind is obsessive. Like, that's something that I could kind of relate to. Like, I could feel a little bit of that, like, when she sings it, and I can relate to that a little bit, like, in my own ways. Glide and listen to my teachers you not to be a dreamer. Like, that part doesn't relate to me as much per se. The people in my life telling me not to be a dreamer were not my teachers. I mean, they were my teachers too, but those aren't the ones that stick out to me. Um, and then, like, you have Lands, right? I don't mind offending, I ain't about pretending, them haters be hating, my fashion be trending. Like, now I'm a believer, check out the stamps on my visa, we international divas, but I started making your pizzas. That Lands part is when I realized that it was about them. I didn't know if they wrote it or not, but I realized it was about them. I think that's always really cool. I like storytelling. I like personalized lyrics. I like lyrics. And so I really liked that. And then The Perry with the pre-chorus, it's fine. Honestly, like the verses are the verses and the chorus are the best part of the songs for me. No to hate to Perry or anything, but um, that for me, it's just I really like the instrumental of the chorus and like that dirtiness of it, and then I love the lyrics of the verses. So I'm sorry if you guys can hear me, my rings clicking against the mic. I apologize about that. I don't know if you can. Um, I'm just switching hands a lot. Yeah, so then Jade's I think is really clever too. I really like this. Even though I'm not a huge Game of Thrones fans, I watched enough of it and I knew enough about it to understand this, but I also really like the last two lines of hers. So she goes, I don't ask the mirror, I know I'm the fairest, which like hello Disney. And and then I'm bringing the fire, so call me Daenerys. I thought that was cute. It was even cuter when I realized that Jade was a huge Game of Thrones fans like way later. But I just again, I just like cheeky references. And then I really like the lines. They want to know who I'm sneaking into my place. They don't need to know no one's business how I play. I like a clapback. You know what I mean? Like who doesn't like a clapback? Like it's literally her being like, get out of my bed. Like you don't need to know who I'm sleeping with or who I'm dating. Like get out. So I like a clapback. I like a subtle one. I mean, I like a not subtle one too, but I really appreciated it. And the bridge lyrics are fine. I don't really like all of them per se, but the lyrics for the first and second verse for me are just like everything, and I just love them so much. And then the song itself is so sonically pleasing that that really helps it. And then it's not about love, right? It's not about like this is another big thing for me. It's not about sex. It's not about romantic relationships. It's not about being brokenhearted. It's not about getting over an ex. It's not about wanting to be in love with someone. Like it's completely unrelated to that. And I always love songs like that because there are not enough of them. And so previously, I've definitely said that Down and Dirty is my default favorite of all of Little Mix's songs. And if you were a random person asking me, I'd probably still say that for the reason that it's not about sex or it's not about a romantic relationship and it's not about like that type of stuff. And for me, outside of a Little Mix world, that is so, so, so important, and I will bump songs up infinitely that have that. So if someone asked me who wasn't in the fandom what my favorite Little Mix song was, I'd probably say Down and Dirty. Obviously, I just ranked it at number 2 for you guys, so you know that that's not true as far as this album goes, but outside of the fandom, that is the song I would name.
I feel like Down and Dirty is like the Glory Days version of Wasabi.
Absolutely.
A
Absolutely.
full clapback, and it's great. um, with Nobody Like You, that one, you will, if you've probably been here long enough to know, depending on how many episodes of our podcast you've listened to, that I'm a sucker for a sad song. You know, I love my ballads. Um, but it's like, because like kind of what you were just saying, I'm not a fan of songs that are always about love and always about being brokenhearted because sorry, but that's not what hits me hard. At least at this point in my life, that's not what hits me hard. So Nobody Like You, even though that's like a sad love song, there's just something about it.
There's something in it that doesn't necessarily feel romantic in nature. Is that just me?
Exactly. No, it feels like it could be anybody.
Yeah, like I always relate to it outside of that.
Yeah,
Like
that's what
I'm
I
actually
do.
looking at the lyrics right now to figure out like where it is that like it actually says like romantic. Like you know it's meant to be romantic, but like
It's
yeah, like
not
it
always.
doesn't actually yeah, it doesn't actually like say something like Love Me or Leave Me says like we go to bed angry or whatever, which like could be not it but also like implies it's romantic or whatever. Like Nobody Like You is very um
Up in the
it
air.
yeah, like it is. Like you can kind of take it and make it about any toxic relationship you want.
Yeah.
Um, and so like even though you can kind of tell by the way things are phrased that it's meant to be a romantic relationship, there's no lyric in it that forces you into that niche. And so you can just kind of place it wherever you want in your life depending on like what's happening. I like
It's just so good. And like I love how because even though I love like a piano like in the background, like a piano instrumental, I love the like just like slow beats of this one. Like I don't know what about it. It's just something about it is so appealing to me.
I love how I'm faded.
Yeah, and like the lyrics are just like they're so good. Like I don't know. This song is just one of those songs that's like overall a really good song because since I don't really like listening to sad love songs, there has to be something else in the song that makes me
Mhm.
like it, and this song just has it.
I don't know if I've just been saying this off the podcast, like off air, or if I've been saying it on air too. But like, I think I've said it on air. Is that I feel like I'm growing out of some of the salute songs, and it really breaks my heart. And I feel like "Good Enough" is one of them,
Yeah.
and that hurts me so much. And I think what happened is I grew out of "Good Enough" and into "Nobody Like You."
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think that's what happened to me. I think that's what it is. Like, I was like, "Why is this happening?" Like, they're not even really, like, the same, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
like, Good Enough is about you having, like, self-worth issues and still being really, like, traumatized by and angry and, like, hurt by that toxic relationship, and Nobody Like You is kind of like a really, like, sad, melancholy acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
I mean, I guess I'm making growth as a human, but boy, am I upset as a music listener. Um, so, I think that's what happened. I think that's what happened. Okay. I feel better having come to that realization on this podcast, guys. Really bothering me that I've been having a disconnect with Good Enough because Good Enough means so, so much to me. It's like really been bothering me for like quite a while now that like I haven't like felt the way I want to when I listen to it. There's been like an emotional disconnect and I was feeling really upset about that. And I thought like there was something wrong with me, but I think I figured it out and I think it's good. I think it's good. Anyway, that's us being way too into Nobody Like You. And now we're going to move on to us being way too into Freak at number one.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't know this by now,
If you didn't see this coming before you even clicked on this, I don't know where you've been.
that's your fault.
Like,
Because we do not stop talking about this song ever.
I think we've literally talked about it. We have like obsessed over it. Not even mentioned it. We've obsessed over it. Spent multiple like time talking about how much we love this song in every single episode of this podcast.
And it won't even be mentioned. It'll just like,
I
somehow
know.
come into conversation.
We've like dragged it into the conversation it didn't need to be in.
Yeah, exactly. Like in my notes, it's all in caps. Like that just shows you how much I love this song.
Like it's just so true. Like I guess we could go into it if you guys want us to. But
If
like
you really want us to, I guess we could.
and I mean you guys don't really get a say because you're not here yet. So
Yeah, you won't be
um
saying this for 3 weeks. You're a little behind.
I know. And in the 3 weeks leading up to this, guys, you're gonna hear more about Freak.
No, yeah. Especially in this or that.
Honestly, I'm gonna say it out there, potentially best song ever out of
Yeah.
all of Little Mix's discography.
It's definitely my favorite out of all of their songs.
I think it might be. I think like
It took a while for me to say that, and I always said Clued Up was my favorite, but like realistically, it's Freak.
I feel like you used to do with Clued Up what I did with Down and Dirty.
Yeah, it's like I like it. I like the meaning behind it. I like the stuff in it, but Freak is just like
But Freak is
it's
like
Freak.
like they're just you know, like
Yeah. I think I just said Clued Up, so I was like kind of like, oh, it's different because whatever, but no, it's Freak.
no one says Freak is their favorite. Do people say Freak is their favorite?
There's like a small group of people, but
I
I
feel like
just
I always see in the comments people being like, "Wow, you're obsessed."
I mean, it might just be because I follow people who like Freak on Instagram.
Oh, there you go.
So I don't know if how like of a popular opinion it actually is, but from the people that like I follow, it's a very popular opinion.
Like before talking to you, the only time I ever saw people mention Freak was like if I mentioned Freak.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, like I never ever saw anyone talking about it, like not in comment sections or like if anyone ever did talk about Freak, they would only talk about it in relation to Jesse or about like JZ High Notes.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like the actual song.
Yeah, and I'm like, "No,"
You're
it's
missing the
either
parts.
I know.
You're
It's
missing it.
like, everyone was always like, "Oh, Jesse wrote it," or, um, "Jade-Z high notes," and I was like, "Okay, yes, great things, both of those great things, but the rest of the song."
But have you heard the pre-chorus?
It's everything.
Yeah, it's definitely one that like it's been one of my favorites since like the very beginning. Like since I first started listening to like all of their music, this is one that's always stuck out to me, which I know I said a lot in this album, but this was like one of the ones that I always like there's never a time that I disliked it.
No, I think I was, like, even before I stand a Little Mix, I was always really hesitant to say that Freak was my favorite, not just because it's about a romantic relationship, but because, like, it's an angry song, um,
It is. There's a lot of
and,
aggression
like
behind it.
there is, it's like, it's a very angry song. Like, when I listen to it, I obviously it's angry, but, like, I don't necessarily hear anger so much as kinda I hear, like, hurt and resilience when I listen to
Yeah.
Freak. And that's what I relate to, like, not necessarily the anger portion of it, but what's behind the anger is what I love so much about the song is because, like, I always think there's something really beautiful, right? And, like, I mean, I just prefer to listen to things that I can I mean, guys, we already did the "Who Do We Relate To Most" episode, I don't really need to get into this more, but, like, I struggle feeling positive emotions, and so they're hard for me to relate to, and so I don't really get a lot of pleasure out of listening to, like, happy songs. Because they all just it doesn't trigger anything for me. So, however, I am clinically depressed. And so sadness, pain, and then, like, that, like, taking absolutely everything inside of you, scraping the very, like, last bits of it and pulling yourself back out of, like, a dark hole, like, that resilience to, like, keep doing that over and over again as many times as you need to, like, try to keep getting your life back on track and to, like, keep yourself going, that is something I relate to, and, like, that's kind of what I hear in Freak, like, that's what I hear in the underlying emotions of Freak, uh and that's not to say that I'm trying to say Freak isn't about, like, a guy cheating on you, that's not what I'm saying, but, like, when I listen to it, like, that angry feel, like, I don't actually feel anger when I listen to it, I feel something else.
Yeah, it's like for me, whenever I listen to it, it gives me like I don't want to say like a wake up call, but it like definitely like wakes me up and makes me like a lot more motivated.
Rejuvenated.
Yeah, it's like it makes you want to go out and do the thing that like you've been putting off or like that like I don't know. It just makes you want to go do stuff.
It's like a backbone in Freak that's like, "Alright, get your shit together, let's go."
Yeah, like it gives you that like little push that you need.
It's a very motivational song, guys, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, like I don't know, like there's just something about it that I love.
As far as, like, sonically, like, the sound of it and stuff and, like, the vibe of the song, like, that's what I love so much about it. Lyrically, though, and, like, melody-wise, still love everything about that too.
Yeah,
I love the distortion to it. I love that, like, dirtier, rockier sound. I don't even know if rock is the right word to use. Um,
like gritty sound.
yeah, that gritty sound. And then I like how it starts off, like, kind of misleading. Not even misleading, but you can, like, feel it, you know?
Mhm.
Like, it gives you that taste, but you don't get these kisses for free, and you're like, "Oop, oop." And then,
Oh no.
um and then it starts off with Jesse just, like, very, like, just singing, like, nice and low and, like, kind of starting, like, a story, right? And I love a good story. I love storytelling lyrics. And for me, like, what I hear in her voice is, like again, it's this building in the song of, like, this, like, getting fed up with something to the point of action. Right, so it's like, "It's getting late, baby, your dinner's cold, I tried to call, got your answer phone, like, last thing that you said, you were on your back to me, like, I can tell you think there's nothing wrong, like, what's with this? Like, you're lying to me, da, da, da." Like, it's this building of, like, tension, and it's like a really it's like the song is like, "You're gonna get there with me, like, I'm not just gonna tell you my story, you're gonna be there with me." And I love that building of it, and the chorus is so catchy, and that melody is so nice, and I know that, like, the p thing people are gonna say, and, is people are gonna be like, "Oh, the woo sound, that's the downfall of Freak." I don't care.
That doesn't bother me. I don't know. Like it just doesn't bother me.
It bothers me when I tried to use freak as an alarm in the morning.
Yeah, that would bother me.
That did bother me. I stopped trying to use it as an alarm, and it doesn't bother me anymore. I kind of also like this call out of like a gaslighting that's happening. Again, guys, this is like obviously one of my favorites, if not my favorite song from Olympics ever. Obviously, I look too deeply into things. I mean, I do that anyway, but especially this. When Jesse says like, don't make it worse lying to me, and then Jade says, get your story straight, I can wait all night. It's because I take this emotion, I channel it into different relationships that aren't about a cheating ex. Like I really like that kind of call out of gaslighting. It's kind of like, no, I know I'm right. Like, go ahead, you figure out how you're gonna lie to me. You take your time. I know I'm right. Like, I know the truth. I just think there's something really powerful in that. Like, I know what you're doing to me. You can't gaslight me anymore, type of a thing.
Yeah.
I just like there's just something so nice about that. And then of course the vocals on the song are insane, guys, and that's
Yeah.
amazing too. And all the girls emote so well on it and stuff. And there was something else I wanted to say about it, and I'm kind of forgetting it. So I'm re-looking at the lyrics. Oh, the duplicity side of it. I really like the concept that like the two sides, like I have two sides of me. It's not about he has two sides of him because he's cheating. It's you have two sides of you, and I liked that kind of flip on it. I don't even know if it was necessarily intentional per se, but I just kind of like that because normally when you think about like having two sides of something or being two-faced, it's the person who's lying, the person who's cheating. But in Freak, it's not. It's the person being cheated on. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I just Freak is just like it's just kind of like a really empowering song.
It is.
Like maybe you guys are gonna think we're crazy, but I mean, we understand each other, so it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, so just everything about Freak is just amazing. I wish so much we had gotten it live. And the Jay-Z notes are great too. Although I have to say, like, something about specifically Jessie doing hers live, why is it so much more impressive live?
I don't know, but it is.
Like there's something about the distortion and the growl live that's different than in studio.
Yeah, I feel like it's more powerful almost.
It does. I'm like, what did you do to her voice in the studio?
I feel like because like in the studio, it's almost like you can't hear it that much. Like you can hear it, but it's not like very present. But then live, it's like,
It also feels a bit more like polished in the studio, which I guess I mean is the point, right? Like
yeah.
anyway, that is us spending I'm sure I don't even know how long we just talked about Freak.
I
I
don't
don't even
know.
know. But I'm sure it was too long. And um yeah, so this was a cool ranking to do. It was kind of cool that we had so many. How many were the same?
We had a lot of the same.
Yeah, like specifically at the beginning and at the end. All of our middle songs are just floating around in the middle.
Yeah, like we had very similar rankings.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I feel like Confetti and LM5 were pretty different.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is our Glory Days ranking. This one was extra fun for us because we were answering them the same way, and that's interesting to us. And we didn't know that was going to happen. So that one was fun for us. Hopefully, maybe that amusement at each other made up for the fact that you guys already knew what number one was.
And
And
that we ranked some of your favorites low.
oh yeah, sorry about that.
The quick apology. Oh yeah. By the way.
Sorry, opinions.
Yeah.
Just because we don't like something doesn't mean it's objectively bad or that you can't like it. It just means we like something else. But yes, that was a fun one. That was a longer one because there's so many songs on Glory Days.
There are.
Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it, even though you already knew some of the answers. We will see you guys next week.